Hello, everybody. This is Patricia Jo Grover, the Goal Achievement Strategist, for another episode of the Patricia Jo Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. This is my Friday, and Fridays I want to really help people focus on their future. So, this is a special episode, and I want to share with you things that prevent us from being effective or successful. So, and these are thought-provoking questions. So it's great for the weekend to go into, giving you some food for thought, things to think about. Procrastination. That's a word many of us are familiar with. I consider myself a um. Well, I think that I am recovering as a perfectionist and procrastinist because those are things that really can cause me to self-sabotage. So that's why I really wanted to talk about this today. There's nothing more stressful than having something weigh on you until the very last minute. And then you're followed with panic of not being able to um, get those certain things done. So if you want to make your job easier, and then you don't procrastinate. But what happens is when you do, you make sure when you do procrastinate, you're making it so that you maybe aren't doing it as well as you could have because you put it off. It is waiting till that last minute is a top form of self sabotage. So the next point I wanted to talk about is clutter. Clutter, it derails us um, and some people more than others. But clutter derives from the Middle East English, word of clutter, and it definitely, it clots our ability to function well. When you tolerate clutter, you're allowing yesterday's junk to interfere with your ability to reach what you need in the present time, what's in front of you. Find simplicity and order, and you'll find the opportunities for growth, so don't have everything all piled up because that's blocking your way. It's just that's what it is. It's blocking your way. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is negativity. Negativity is a incredibly destructive force. And in a world where we're barraged with negative information constantly, it's easy to get lured in. But to give negativity, when you give it power, when you pay attention to it, it that's what it is. You're giving it power. So make a habit to focus on only the positive side of things. You may not be able to change events, but with a positive mindset, you can change your perceptions and outcomes of what's happening or what you can have control over. Because again, you don't have control over everything, but what you can have control of is trying to make it as positive as possible. So then let me talk about comparisons. Because I'm always telling everybody, we are our own worst critics. So we're not in competition with anyone else. What we're in competition, what we should be more consumed with is comparing ourselves, is making our own, meeting our own requirements and what we've set for ourselves. So comparisons, it's in our nature to look at what others have and see how we measure up, but it's a pointless exercise because since there always will be somebody that has more and there'll always be somebody that has less. It distracts us from the only comparison that's valid, and that's between ourselves and our own goals. So stop comparing and find what your strengths are. You do have them. Believe me, you do have them. So dig deep and let's work on finding out who you are and where you're actually at so that we can get you to where you want to be. So then we move to perfectionism. Anyone who has suffered from perfectionism knows that it doesn't make you any better. And it often leads to disappointment and ultimately failure. We put this, it's so much pressure we put on ourselves. Focus on doing what you do well and do it with excellence. It's much more motivating than, piling everything on yourself with expecting perfection, because now nobody is perfect. Nobody's perfect. I truly boldly confess I am not perfect by any way, shape, or form. So and I'm right up front with everyone with that, including myself. So, talking about being upfront, let's talk about dishonesty. To tolerate dishonesty from others or from yourself is one of the most stressful things to do to yourself, because lies may seem to smooth things out and at the moment, but ultimately they're not doing anything but creating complications and giving you anxiety. And who needs that? In today's day and age, who needs it? We can't be bothered with that. So the next thing I'm going on to is mediocrity. Everyone wants to feel like they measure up to standards, but by tolerating mediocrity, it leaves no room for you to be as great as you want to be and having that greatness. When mediocrity is accepted, excellence, uniqueness, and true success die a painful death. So aspire to your own excellence always. Then we come into the word guilt. Boy, that piles up on a lot of people. Guilt weighs us down. It crushes us. It's tremendously stressful. Whether we deserve it or not, guilt never feeds us or nourishes us in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't. It does. It weighs us down. So make your choices and live with them. There are consequences to every single one of our actions, good, bad, or indifferent, but the choices that we make with guilt, again, if we're making those choices, make sure that you're being smart about the choices and decisions you're making so you don't feel guilty about them. You may feel regret at some things and resolve not to repeat them, but don't let guilt take a hold of you and draw you down. So then we move into excuses. Excuses may come in handy when we don't want to do something, but it keeps you from doing the things that you're actually meant to do. If it's important, then you sack those excuses and find a way to make it happen. We all do. If there's something you really, really want to do, somehow we find a way to make that happen. Excuses never moved anyone closer towards their goals. Not that I've ever heard in my whole life. So then I'm going on to enmity. The essence of enmity is insecurity, which appears that you're unhappy with our own selves, and it causes us great stress. But if we tolerate hostility and it can cause us to, be hostile and lead in anger with conversations or relationships. If you have enmity in your life, you may alienate others and separate ourselves from our own potential. Enmity comes from, clinging to negative experiences. So I say choose to move on instead of hanging back and holding on to anger or things that have happened in the past. And then I'm going on to rejection. When we interpret rejection from someone, that's making us feel like we're not doing a good enough job. We're not good enough at something. It's bound to create so much stress. So rejection, and you never know why you're being rejected, because it could just be how someone, what kind of day that they're having, or or something that has recently happened in to them. So don't always take that so personally. Don't take it so deeply, because we always take that in as not being good enough for whatever reason. So, but it's kind of like failure. Rejection is often a necessary step to the pursuit of success. You're going to have people say no, and for whatever reasons, but we need to learn from that and figure out what it was that initiated this whole thing, and those thoughts and feelings. So if you've ever been rejected, your goals, you know, if you've been rejected, your goals are big, and that if it's worth having, it's worth working for. But if your goals, if you've never been rejected, if everything that you've tried to accomplish has come along quite easily, then your goals aren't ambitious enough. You're not stretching yourself to your full potential. So then I'll move into the last one I want to talk about today is defeat. How stressful is it to feel defeated? You know, it's it's possible to experience failure without defeat, but everyone fails at some point. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. Everyone fails at some time. You know, and instead of being defeated and allowing your failures to define who you are, use them to guide you to a better place, to a better self, to improve your odds of success the next time. So I just wanted to leave all these words with you, the meanings of them, and the food for thought, to help you be able to focus on your future, and don't let anything negative from all of this um, define you. You have the possibility ahead of you of so much greatness. So reach out, think about it, allow yourself to dream. And until next time, this has been Patricia Jo Grover, the Goal Achievement Strategist, and the Patricia Jo Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. You can find out more about me at patriciajogrover.com. And I have gifts for you if you text the word GOAL, GOAL, to 866-926-4020. And I'll look forward to seeing you next week. On Monday, I have a very interesting guest coming on. And so hope you'll join me. And we'll see you next time.